What really happened behind the closed doors of Sandra Dee's abandoned house? How did Hollywood's darling, the sweet, smiling face of the silver screen vanish into silence, sorrow, and obscurity? From a fairy tale romance to a life filled with invisible scars, this is the haunting story of Sandra Dee's secret life, her tragic death, and the forgotten house that once held it all. In 1960, the world watched a love story bloom on the sunlit shores of Italy. Sandra Dee, the all-American girl next door, had met the rising music sensation Bobby Darin on the set of Come September. She was only 18, although Hollywood claimed she was 20. He was 24 and already a heartthrob. Their chemistry was instant, their romance fast and furious. Bobby sent Sandra 18 yellow roses every day. The gesture was grand, the passion undeniable. By December 1st, 1960, the two eloped against her mother's wishes, and without warning the press, a year later, their son, Dodd Mitchell Darren, was born to the world. They were the golden couple, young, successful, beautiful, but underneath the perfection, their marriage was quietly unraveling. Sandra was silently battling severe anorexia and childhood trauma she hadn't fully processed. She later revealed she had been sexually abused by her stepfather, an unbearable burden she carried alone for years. Bobby's busy touring schedule and fragile health added more strain. He expected her to accompany him to Las Vegas shows, but Sandra, already emotionally fragile, was overwhelmed by the glitz and pressure. By 1963, the couple separated. Though they briefly reconciled, their divorce became final in 1967. But even after the split, their bond remained. Sandra never spoke ill of Bobby. She encouraged their son to stay connected to him. She called him the love of her life, someone who truly saw her. Long before the fame and heartbreak, Sandra Dee was Alexandra Zuck, born into a working-class, Eastern European American family. Her parents divorced when she was just 5 years old. Her mother, Mary Zuck, was fiercely ambitious, and she saw something in her daughter, a chance, not for childhood, but for stardom. By age 4, Sandra was already modeling professionally. While other kids played outside, she posed for magazine covers and filmed commercials. Her home wasn't a home, it was a production set. And her childhood, replaced by auditions and camera lights, Mary Zuck controlled everything. Sandra's diet, clothes, schedule, even her age. To make her seem more marketable, they changed her birth year from 1944 to 1942. It was the first of many sacrifices made in the name of fame. But the most devastating sacrifice wasn't visible. After her mother remarried in 1951, Sandra suffered years of abuse from her stepfather, Eugene Duvon. He would die in 1956, but the damage he left behind would shape the rest of her life. By the late 1950s, Sandra Dee was a certified teen idol. She starred in box office hits like Gidget, The Reluctant Debutante, and Imitation of Life. She was young, radiant, and America couldn't get enough of her. But it wasn't real. Her image was tightly curated. Her mother remained the puppet master, ensuring Sandra maintained the perfect public persona. No flaws, no rebellion, no freedom. Behind the scenes, Sandra was fragile and exhausted. She smiled on red carpets but cried in private. Her anorexia worsened. Her emotional development had been stunted by years of control and trauma. She never had a chance to just be a girl. She was a product of Hollywood's machinery, manufactured, marketed, and ultimately discarded. During her marriage to Bobby Darin, Sandra lived in the lap of luxury. While exact addresses remain unknown, it's believed they resided in Beverly Hills or the Hollywood Hills, secluded and stylish, away from the paparazzi's flash. Their home was filled with music, parties, and photographs of their perfect family. But beneath the glamour, it was a house of pressure and unspoken pain. After their divorce, Sandra chose solitude. She stayed in Los Angeles, but retreated from the spotlight. Her homes became smaller, quieter, more hidden. In her later years, she lived modestly, possibly renting, in the suburbs, Thousand Oaks, a far cry from the glimmering hills of her heyday. And after her death, her home stood still, quiet and empty, a once bright star now lost to time. As her fame faded, so did Sandra's health. The 1970s and 80s brought a cascade of hardships. She battled alcoholism away to cope with childhood trauma, depression, and the crushing weight of image perfection. She developed kidney disease and required regular dialysis. She wasn't in the headlines anymore, she wasn't on movie posters, but she was still fighting, quietly, daily. Her days revolved around hospital visits and managing pain. Public appearances were rare, photos even rarer. She faded into near invisibility, but never gave up on being a mother. Sandra Dee's saving grace was her son, Dodd. Their bond was deep and unshakable. She poured her remaining energy into raising him. When she grew too ill to care for herself, Dodd became her caretaker, her strength. He described her as warm, loyal, and deeply wounded. Years later, he would write a memoir titled Dream Lovers, honoring both his mother and father. To Dodd, Sandra wasn't just a faded star. She was a survivor, a woman who fought, who protected him, and who loved fiercely despite all she'd been through. On February 20th, 2005, Sandra Dee died at Los Robles Hospital in Thousand Oaks. She was only 62. Her death was quiet, almost unnoticed by the wider world. There were no grand tributes, no televised memorials, just silence. The home she once lived in is believed to be abandoned now, forgotten by time, but it still holds echoes of the girl who once danced in commercials, loved too deeply, and hurt far too long. Her net worth at the time of death was modest, estimated $250,000 to $500,000. But her real wealth wasn't in dollars. It was in the lessons her life tells us, that fame can be fleeting, that childhood is precious, that behind every perfect smile there may be pain we never see. Sandra Dee was more than a Hollywood name. She was a symbol of beauty, vulnerability, and quiet resilience. Her abandoned home may be empty, but her story still echoes. A haunting reminder of the price of perfection and the power of truth. What do you think of Sandra Dee's life? Let us know in the comments below. And if her story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold Hollywood tales.